Welcome to Millennium Daytime Bulletin. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi and you're watching Millennium News Channel 24. Today I'm bringing you the latest updates from around the world. Let's begin with today's top headlines. 179 people killed in deadliest plane crash in South Korea. Azerbaijan's president accuses Russia of downing airliner in Christmas Day crash and covering up cause. New Georgian president sworn in as pro-EU predecessor says she takes legitimacy with her. Trump sides with tech bosses in MAGA fight over immigrant visas. Kenya's president promises to stop abductions following wave of disappearances. China unveils prototype of world's fastest train capable of reaching 450 km per hour. US homelessness hit record high in 2024. Global markets reflect mixed sentiment amid economic pressures. Pep Guardiola celebrated 500 games in charge of Manchester City with a nerve win over Leicester. Australia rally after Bumrah genius on riveting day. Now let's look at the details. All passengers and most of the crew on board a Jeju air flight have died after a plane crash landed at an airport in South Korea on Sunday. A total of 179 of the 181 people on board the Boeing 737-800 were killed, with just 2 survivors, both cabin staff pulled from the burning wreckage. The plane landed at Muan International Airport in the country's south, skidding off the runway and crashing into a wall in a fiery explosion. Flight 2216 was returning from Bangkok, Thailand, with 6 crew and 175 passengers, many of them holidaymakers. Distraught families gathered in the airport arrival hall in tears as they waited for bodies to be identified. Some of those killed have been only identifiable by their fingerprints. Myang Ji-soo, 78 years old, told the BBC his nephew and his nephew's 2 sons have been on the plane. It was the family's first trip abroad to mark the youngest son finishing his college entrance exams. I can't believe the entire family has disappeared. My heart aches so much, he said. The passengers included 173 South Koreans and 2 Thai nationals. They aged between 3 and 78, although most were in their 40s, 50s and 60s. South Korea's Yonhap news agency reported footage shared on the crash, which happened shortly after 9 o'clock local time, showed the aircraft landing without wheels, overshooting the runway and crashing into the airport's perimeter wall before it exploded into flames. An investigation into the cause is underway. There had been no initial reports of plane or maintenance problems or takeoff. South Korean transport officials are reporting the plane ran into difficulties approaching landing, with the pilot, who had more than 6,800 hours of flight experience, pulling out of the first attempt due to bird interference. Soon after, the pilot issued a mayday call and made the ill-fated emergency landing attempt. A malfunction with the landing gear may have arisen from birds getting caught in the plane system, local media reported. One passenger sent a relative a message saying a bird was stuck in the wing. The South Korean news agency said the disaster is a national tragedy for South Korea, which has been embroiled in a political crisis after President Yoon and his temporary successors were both impeached by parliament. Acting President Choi Sang-mok, who was only appointed on Friday, visited the site of the crash on Sunday. I express my deepest condolences to many victims in the incident. I will do all I can for the injured to quickly recover, Choi said. Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev has accused Russia of accidentally shooting down an airline on Christmas Day in a disaster that killed 38 people and covering up the cause. We can clearly say today that the plane was shot down by Russia. This is a fact, Aliyev said in a televised interview. According to the transcript posted on Azerbaijan's presidential website, no one can deny this fact, Aliyev continued. Again, we are not saying that this was done intentionally, but it was done. The Azerbaijan's airline planes was traveling to Grozny in Chechnya before it made an emergency landing near Aktau, Kazakhstan. In the airline, it said on Wednesday that Russia's Federal Air Transport Agency first said the plane crashed after colliding with birds, though it later said Ukrainian combat drones and dense fog forced the plane out of Russia's airspace. Perforations in the plane's body that look similar to damage from shrapnel or debris said that many believe the plane was shot down by Russian Air Defense Unit, including a US official who told CNN that signs pointed to a Russian system striking the plane. The fact that fuselage is riddled with holes indicates that the theory of the plane hitting a flock of birds is completely removed from the agenda. Aliyev said in Sunday's interview, it is possible that when the plane was damaged when it was hit, the pilot could have perceived it as a collision with birds, because it would probably never have occurred to anyone that our plane might have been fired at from the ground while flying over a country friendly to us, he continued. The Azerbaijani president said the plane was damaged over Russian territory, adding, the means of electronic warfare put our plane out of control. At the same time, as a result of fire from the ground, a tail of the plane was also severely damaged, Aliyev continued. A Russian dispatcher said shortly before the crash that an oxygen tank exploded the plane's cabin. Kazakhstan's transport minister Marat said on Thursday. Aliyev said this was another regrettable and surprising moment that clearly showed that the Russian side wanted to cover up the issue, which of course is unbecoming of anyone. On Saturday, Russian President Vladimir Putin apologized for the fact that the tragic incident occurred in Russian airspace in a phone call with Aliyev, adding the Russian air defense were active at the time but stopped short of admitting fault. Mikhail Kabalashvili was inaugurated as president of Georgia on Sunday following a tumultuous election period marked by further divisions between pro-Russian and pro-EU fractions of the former Soviet era. Kabalashvili, 53 years old, an ex-lawmaker for the right-wing ruling Georgian Dream Party and the former English Premier League soccer star, was sworn in as country's parliament in Tbilisi. A hardline critic of the West, he was the only candidate in the running after opposition parties boycotted the parliamentary process to elect a president. Kabalashvili pledged to be everyone's president regardless of whether they like me or not. He urged Georgians to unite around shared value and the principles of mutual respect and the future we should build together. The Georgian people have always understood that peace is the main prerequisite for survival and development, he said on Sunday. In recent weeks, Kabalashvili's successors to the largely ceremonial role sparked condemnation from the key opposition group and fierce protest by citizens who opposed the government decision to delay its bid to join European Union. Outgoing President Salom Zurabishvili and the pro-Western opponent of the ruling party maintained a hardline position in her speech to supporters on Sunday outside the presidential palace. I will come out of here and will be with you, she said. I'm taking legitimacy with you. I am taking the flag with me. I am taking your trust with me, she added. The protest waved red flag and red cards in reference to Kabalashvili's footballing career. Because today our president is a footballer, we are showing him a red card. The next step will be sending him off the pitch. The Georgian people will definitely do this because it was and it is a circus that they have held today in the parliament, protesters Sofia told the Associated Press. We have to see how the issues unfold in some point of time. President-elect Donald Trump appeared to side with technology bosses Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in a row over a visa program that brings skilled workers to the US. Trump told the New York Post on Saturday that he always liked H-1B visas and hired guest workers under the scheme. Even though he's previously been critical of the program, he was wading into a debate that he has pitted his advisors from the tech world against Republicans who want a harder line on all forms of immigration. The argument broke out after Ramaswamy, tapped by Trump along with Musk to slash government spending, blamed American culture of US firms deciding to hire skilled workers from other countries. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence, Ramaswamy wrote in a long X post that argued that foreign workers improve the US economy. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian, the top student in a class, would not produce the best engineers in our country, he wrote. The post attracted backlash from anti-immigrant Trump supporters, and Ramaswamy later clarified that he believed the H-1B system is badly broken and should be replaced. After the argument raged online for days, Trump told the Post, "I have always liked the visas. I have always been in favor of the visas. That's why we have them. I have many H-1B visas on my properties. I have been a believer of H-1B. I have used it many times. It's a great program," he said. Trump moved to restrict access to the H-1B program during his first term. Both the president-elect and his running mate J.D. Vance have been critical of the visas in the past. Although Vance has close ties with the tech world and in his previous career as a venture capitalist funded startups that hired workers with H-1B visas. Ramaswamy assertion led to a full-blown row online over the holidays as mainstream Republicans and the far-right influencers joined in criticizing him and other wealthy figures in Trump's inner circle. "If we are going to have a throwdown, let's have it now," prominent Trump supporter Steve Bannon said on his War Room podcast on Friday. He went on to call the Republican claims of the support of the H-1B program is a total scam. Kenya's President William Ruto has promised to stop abductions of government critics in an apparent change of stance for a leader who has previously called the wave of disappearances fake news. Ruto, his government official and police have maintained for months and that there were no abductions. Ruto has always demanded names of the missing from families and told Parliament that the reports were fabricated to tarnish his government's name. At least 82 government critics have allegedly gone missing after a youth-led protest movement erupted in June against a controversial finance bill, though some have resurfaced. Ruto's remark on Saturday did not acknowledge government culpability for those missing. However, the Kenyan leader also said the parents should better take care of their children. What has been said about abductions, "We will stop them so Kenya youth can live in peace, but they should have discipline and polite to be and to build the Kenya government together." Ruto said in a statement that the Homa Bay in the west of the country among the disappeared are 2 young men, and also share AI-generated images of Ruto in a casket that some considered offensive and popular cartoonist whose image of the president went viral. Despite Ruto's speech, a state-funded human rights body says 29 people remain unaccounted for, including 6 people who disappeared days before Christmas. Human rights defenders allege that all the missing activists and critics are believed to have tackled down by the government intelligence who tapped into phone signals. The protests were widely mobilized online before they spread onto the street. Human rights activist Bob Njagi, who said he was abducted this summer, reacted to Ruto's comment. It was an admission that they are happening under their watch, if not by them. This is just damage control, but it does not absolve them of having the previous abductions, and we want all the missing people to be and to set free, he told the CNN. Njagi leads the Free Kenya Movement organization united in pursuit of change for the country. He was one of the movement and the most prominent figure behind the protest against Ruto's government before he disappeared. The 47-year-old told CNN he was forcibly dragged out of a matatu, that is a minibus, one night in August by 4 hooded men wearing black sleeves. They were also blindfolded, beaten and waterboarded. China has revealed its next generation high-speed train, the CR450 prototype, which has reached test speeds of 450 km per hour, surpassing all existing models to become the fastest train globally. According to the state media reports, the CR450 significantly outpaces the CR400 fastest training, currently operating at 300. The breakthrough was achieved through extensive research and development since the project inception in 2021, with a focus on safety, energy efficiency and passenger comfort. The train braking system has been optimized to ensure stability and safety at these unprecedented speeds, while its streamlined design reduces energy consumption by over 20%, according to Xinhua. A new prototype that the CR450AF and CR450BF feature an 8-car formation with advanced system like water-cooled permanent magnet traction and a high stability bogie system. The unveiling marks a significant step in China's high-speed rail ambition, consolidating its position as a global leader in railway technology. China's high-speed railway system has been shifted from a follower to a global leader, said Li Yongheng of China's State Railway Group, as per China Daily. Efforts to enhance the CR450 operational capabilities will continue with further testing and refinement to ensure readiness for commercial service. State media also highlighted the train's passenger-friendly feature, including increased cabin spaces, noise reduction technology and adjustable storage for bicycles, wheelchairs. According to SCMP, these innovations aim to improve travel quality while maintaining environmental sustainability. With the reduced weight and on the advanced material like the carbon fiber, the train achieves superior energy efficiency, making it a model for sustainable rail transport. China, boasting the world's largest high-speed rail network with 47,000 kilometers of operational tracks, has leveraged its expertise to expand globally. The CR450's debut reinforces the country's ambition to start new global standards in rail transport, with plans to shorten travel time significantly. For instance, cutting the Beijing-Shanghai journey from 4.5 hours to just over 3. While commercial operations date remain unconfirmed, China's railway hinted at a launch as early as next year. The US homeless population increased by more than 18% in a year, driven by high housing costs, natural disasters, and a spike in migration to large cities, government officials said. The Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD said Friday that more than 770,000 people were in shelters, temporary housing, or had no shelter, according to the survey carried out one night in January 2024. The number follows a 12% increase in the previous year and is the highest since the federal government began an annual count to the homeless population in 2007. The figure is likely an undercount as it does not include people temporarily staying with their family and friends. Authorities caution that the data is nearly a year old and that both rent environment and the situation as the US border have changed since the survey was carried out. Family homelessness overall rose 39% from the year before and more than doubled in 13 places that said they had been affected by migration. This was in contrast to more than 370 other local areas that did not report being affected by migration, where families' homelessness rose less than 8% on average. Children under 18 experienced the biggest increase, with nearly 150,000 homeless on the night of the survey. There was a 6% increase in the homeless population aged 65 or older. There were also some positive trends noted in the report. Homelessness among military veterans fell 8%, continuing a long year decline. And some cities were able to get homeless residents off the streets. Los Angeles, which had some of the highest housing costs in the country, saw its homelessness population shrink by 5%, the first decline in 7 years, the hood officials reported. The number of homeless people in Dallas fell 16% over 2 years, and Chester County near Philadelphia in Pennsylvania registered a 60% decrease over 5 years due to legal and education programs. Increasing affordable housing and homelessness prevention efforts aimed at migrant worker, officials said. Now bringing you the latest updates on today's market trends. Today's market trends paint a varied picture across the Americas as investors grapple with fluctuating economic conditions. The US indices are notably in the red, reflecting heightened volatility and investor caution. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down by 0.77%, shedding over 33 points. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 and Nasdaq are hit even harder, down by 1.11% and 1.4% respectively, signaling pressure on both the broader market and tech-heavy stocks. The Russell 2000 tracking smaller companies lead the decline at 1.56%, underscoring unease across multiple market caps. In Canada, the S&P TSX Composite and TSX 60 saw modest decline of 0.20% and 0.21% respectively, possibly reflecting stability in energy and resource-based sectors. However, Brazil's Bovespa dropped 0.67%, losing over 800 points, likely due to concern over global commodity demand. In contrast, Childs S&P IPSA stands out with a slight gain of 0.18%, hinting the localized resilience or sectoral gains. Mexico's S&P BMV IPC fell by 0.49%, suggesting caution sentiments as regional economic growth faces challenges. These movements come as investors keep a close eye on inflation data, central bank policy, and geopolitical tensions. Tech and small cap stocks seem to be bearing the brunt of the sell-off, while some South American markets show signs of selective optimism. Globally, markets are trading cautiously, awaiting further cues for directions. The commodity markets displayed a blend of resilience and pressure today, reflecting diverse dynamic in energy, metals, and agriculture. In the energy sector, both WTI crude oil and Brent crude oil saw slight declines, down by 0.48% and 0.46% respectively. The WTI settled at $70.26 per barrel, with Brent crude oil hovered at $73.45. These dips may be attributed to ongoing concern about global demand as recession fear lingers and supply balances remain in focus. Conversely, the natural gas stood out with a strong rebound, gaining 3.70% to reach $3.64. The surge is likely driven by colder weather forecast and higher heating demand, particularly in the North America. And precious metal gold continues to shine as a safe haven asset, inching up by 0.17% to $2,636. This movement underscores investor interest in hedging against broader market uncertainties. Silver also posted a minimal gain of 0.04%, holding steady at $29.98. Agriculture showed muted activity with soybeans remaining largely unchanged at $9.90, reflecting stable supply-demand condition in the market. Today's trends suggest that while energy markets face headwinds, natural gas and precious metal are emerging as relative bright spots. Investors are carefully balancing risk and opportunity amid evolving macroeconomic condition. We'll be right back after a short break. I'm Shweta Simar. Keep watching Millennium Daytime Bulletin.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome back after the break. I'm Shweta Simar from New Delhi and you're watching Millennium Daytime Bulletin. Now let's look at some sports highlights. Savinho and Erling Haaland gave the floundering defending champions just a second win in their last 10 Premier Leagues game. It was still not enough to lift them back up the 4, instead leaving them 5th and 11 points behind leaders Liverpool before the Reds' trip to West Ham later on Sunday. Guardiola had promised not to give up amid the worst run of the managerial career, but the visitors lived dangerously at the King Power Stadium, with Jamie Vardy twice going close and Facundo hitting the post for the Foxes. Confidence clearly needs to be rebuilt at the City, but it was good enough to beat Lancashire, just the side who are fading about a promise start under Ruud van Nistelrooy. It is now 4 straight defeats for the Foxes and 5 in 7 games since the Steve Cooper was sacked in November, which leaves them in the relegation zone. Vardy had the host best first half chance thwarted by Stephen Ortega after Josko Guardiola mistakes before the header rebounded off the post, but by then the already trailing to Savino's 21st minute goal, his first for the City, goalkeeper Jacob, who denied Haaland early, parried Phil Foden's shot and winger Savino fired in high from 6 yards. Leicester still sensed they could exploit City's brittle backline, and Jamie Justin came just close to a second half leveler, only for Manuel Akanji to hack earlier. Vardy also hit the bar late on when they fired from the 6 yards before Haaland ended into hopes of a comeback, heading in the Savino's cross with 16 minutes left. Crucial lower orders run kept Australia in the ascendancy on the gripping 4th day of the 4th test against India in Melbourne. Batting with the first inning lead of 105, Australia scrapped to 228 at the close, having 91-6 in the afternoon after another superb spell from the irresistible Jasprit Bumrah, who took 4 on 56. He bowled debut Sam Contest and for right took 3 more wickets in a middle order collapse that saw 4 wickets fall in 21 ball as India surged back into the contest, but Marnus Labuschagne dug in for a vital 70 and put on 57 with the captain Pat Cummins, who made 41. Both men were put down by Yashasvi Jaiswal, Labuschagne on 46 and Cummins on 21 in 2 of 4 dropped catches by India, 3 of which were by Jaspal. Nathan Lyon was also dropped on 5 and went on to frustrate India in an unbroken last wicket partnership of 55 with Scott Boland that took Australia to the close with a lead of 333 runs. The drama continued to the finish with Bumrah having Lyon caught a slip on 33 in the final over only for Australia number 10 to be retrieved by a no ball. The Lyon-Boland stand ensured Australia have the advantage, but the host's decision to resist the temptation to declare late in the day has enhanced the chances of a draw. India will still hold some hopes of a successful run chase on a final day where a win for either side would give them the lead in a fantasizing 5-test series that is tied at 1-1. That's all for now. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us for more updates. Log in to stay updated with the latest news on our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Millennium News 24. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Millennium News 24. You can watch us on Android and iOS devices, as well as on Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and all smart TV platforms. Enjoy entertainment and latest news with us. Download the Millennium TV app, Millennium TV USA for Android, and Millennium News on Google. Thank you for being part of Millennium News 24.